If you're retired or planning to retire soon, the next few minutes could save you thousands of pounds. The UK pension system is undergoing some of the most significant changes we've seen in decades, and if you're not prepared, you could be leaving money on the table or worse, facing unexpected tax bills that could have been avoided. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's changing, when it's happening, and most importantly, what you need to do right now to protect your retirement income. Hello and welcome back to UK Pensioner Hub. The landscape of retirement in the United Kingdom is shifting beneath our feet, and whether you're already drawing your pension or you're planning to retire in the coming years, these changes will affect you. Today, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about the big changes coming to UK pensions, and I promise to make this as straightforward as possible because when it comes to your retirement, clarity is everything. Let's start with one of the most talked about changes, the state pension age. For years, we've known that the state pension age has been gradually increasing, but the government has recently accelerated its plans. If you were born after April 1978, you're now looking at a state pension age that could reach 68 years old sooner than previously announced. The government is under enormous financial pressure, and the state pension is one of the largest items in the national budget. What this means for you is that you need to check your specific state pension age right now. Don't assume you know when you can claim. Go to the government state pension forecast website and verify your personal pension age because planning your retirement around the wrong date could leave you in a serious financial bind. Now, let's talk about the state pension itself and how much you can expect to receive. The full new state pension for the current tax year is set at just over £211 per week, which works out to around £11,000 per year. However, and this is crucial, not everyone receives the full amount. To qualify for the full new state pension, you need 35 years of national insurance contributions. If you have gaps in your national insurance record, you may receive less than the full amount, and those gaps could cost you dearly over the course of your retirement. The good news is that you can often fill these gaps by making voluntary national insurance contributions, but there are deadlines. For some tax years, the deadline to fill gaps has already passed or is approaching fast. This is something you should investigate immediately if you're within 10 years of your state pension age. One change that's causing considerable concern among retirees is the ongoing freeze of income tax thresholds. While this might not sound like a pension issue at first, it absolutely is. The personal allowance, which is the amount you can earn before paying income tax, has been frozen at £12,570 until at least 2028. Meanwhile, pensions are increasing each year through the triple lock mechanism. What this creates is something called fiscal drag. As your state pension increases but the tax threshold stays the same, more and more pensioners are being pulled into paying income tax for the first time. If you're receiving additional income from a private pension or workplace pension on top of your state pension, you could find yourself paying significantly more tax than you anticipated. This is why tax planning is more important than ever for retirees. Speaking of the triple lock, this remains one of the most valuable protections for pensioners, but it's also one of the most politically contentious. The triple lock guarantees that the state pension increases each year by whichever is highest, inflation, average earnings growth, or 2.5%. This has been a lifeline for pensioners, protecting the real value of their income. However, there's constant political debate about whether the triple lock is sustainable in the long term. While it's currently protected, you should be aware that future governments could modify or remove it. For now, it remains in place, and it's one of the reasons the state pension has maintained its purchasing power better than many expected. Let's move on to workplace pensions and auto-enrollment, because there are significant changes on the horizon here as well. Auto-enrollment, which automatically enrolls employees into workplace pension schemes, has been a success in getting millions of people saving for retirement. However, the government has announced plans to expand auto-enrollment. The earnings threshold for auto-enrollment is being lowered, and there are proposals to include younger workers, potentially from age 18 rather than 22. If you're still working and you employ people or you're employed yourself, these changes will affect how much goes into pension pots. For those already retired, this matters because it affects the financial security of the next generation and the overall health of the pension system. Another critical area is pension freedoms and how you can access your pension pot. Since 2015, people aged 55 and over have had much greater freedom in how they access their defined contribution pensions. However, this age is increasing to 57 from 2028. If you were planning to access your pension at 55 and you haven't done so yet, you need to understand whether you'll be affected by this change. There are some protections for people with certain pension schemes, but this isn't automatic. You need to check with your pension provider to understand your specific situation. The way pension pots are taxed when you die is another area seeing changes. Previously, if you died before age 75, your pension pot could be passed on tax-free to your beneficiaries. If you died after 75, they would pay income tax on withdrawals at their marginal rate. The rules around this are becoming more complex, and there are ongoing discussions about bringing pension pots into the inheritance tax net. This could mean that your carefully saved pension pot could face a double tax hit, both inheritance tax and income tax, when you pass it on to your loved ones. Estate planning and understanding how your pension fits into your overall wealth strategy is now more important than ever. For those with defined benefit pensions, often called final salary pensions, there are changes too. Many companies are looking to transfer their pension obligations or convert them to defined contribution schemes. If you're offered a transfer value to move from a defined benefit pension to a defined contribution pension, be extremely cautious. These offers can seem attractive because they offer a large lump sum, but defined benefit pensions provide guaranteed income for life, which is incredibly valuable. By law, if your transfer value is over £30,000, you must take financial advice before transferring. Don't rush into these decisions. The income security of a defined benefit pension is something money often can't buy in today's market. Pension scams are unfortunately becoming more sophisticated, and with all these changes creating confusion, scammers are taking advantage. If you're approached about transferring your pension, accessing it early, or investing it in unusual schemes, be very wary. The Financial Conduct Authority has reported a significant increase in pension scams, with victims losing an average of over £50,000. Legitimate pension providers will never cold call you, pressure you into quick decisions, or offer returns that seem too good to be true. If something feels off, it probably is. Always verify any pension company through the FCA register before engaging with them. Let's talk about pension credit, because this is an area where thousands of pensioners are missing out on money they're entitled to. Pension credit tops up your income if it's below a certain level, currently around £200 per week for single people and £300 for couples. But here's the thing, only around 60% of people eligible for pension credit actually claim it. That means 4 in 10 eligible pensioners are missing out on money that could make a real difference to their quality of life. Even more importantly, pension credit is the gateway to other benefits like help with housing costs, council tax reduction, free dental treatment, and help with heating costs. If you think you might be eligible, claim it. There's no shame in claiming what you're entitled to, and it could boost your income by thousands of pounds per year. The annual allowance and lifetime allowance are technical terms, but they matter if you're still contributing to a pension. The lifetime allowance, which capped how much you could build up in pensions with tax relief, has been abolished. This is good news for high earners who were previously restricted. However, the annual allowance, which limits how much you can contribute to pensions each year with tax relief, remains at £60,000 for most people. If you're still working and want to maximize your pension contributions, understanding these allowances is crucial. Additionally, if you've already started taking money from your pension, you might be subject to the money purchase annual allowance, which is much lower at £10,000. This can catch people out if they're trying to continue building their pension while also drawing from it. For those considering working in retirement, and more people are, you need to understand how this affects your state pension and any private pensions you're drawing. The good news is that you can work and claim your state pension without any reduction. Your state pension is yours regardless of whether you continue working. However, remember that any earnings will be added to your pension income for tax purposes, which could push you into a higher tax bracket. If you defer your state pension, you can increase the amount you receive later, earning roughly 1% more for every 9 weeks you defer, which works out to just under 5.8% for a full year. For some people, this can be a smart financial move, especially if you're still earning and don't need the state pension immediately. Healthcare costs are another consideration that's changing for retirees. While the NHS remains free at the point of use, there are costs associated with prescriptions, dental care, and eye care that can add up. Once you reach state pension age, prescriptions become free, which is one small silver lining. However, dental and optical costs continue, and many pensioners are finding these expenses increasing year on year. Some of these costs can be helped through pension credit or other benefits, which again highlights the importance of claiming everything you're entitled to. Let's address the elephant in the room: inflation and the cost of living. Even with the triple lock, many pensioners have felt the squeeze from the high inflation we've experienced. Energy costs, food prices, and other essentials have risen sharply. While inflation has now moderated, prices haven't come back down to where they were. This makes it more important than ever to budget carefully and look for ways to reduce costs. Many utility companies offer social tariffs for pensioners, and there are discounts available on everything from rail travel to entertainment. Don't be afraid to ask about pensioner discounts. You've earned them. Housing is another area where things are changing for retirees. More people are reaching retirement age with mortgages still outstanding, which wasn't common in previous generations. If you're in this situation, you need a clear plan for how you'll pay off your mortgage from your pension income or whether you'll continue making payments in retirement. Equity release schemes are becoming more popular as a way to access the value locked in your home without selling it, but these are complex products with significant implications for your estate. If you're considering equity release, get independent financial advice and make sure your family understands the implications. Technology is also changing how we manage our pensions. Online pension dashboards are being introduced, which will allow you to see all your pensions in one place. If you've worked for multiple employers over your career, you might have several pension pots scattered around. These dashboards will make it easier to track down lost pensions and get a complete picture of your retirement savings. This is a positive development, but it also means getting comfortable with online tools. If technology isn't your strong suit, don't worry. Most providers offer telephone support, and you can often get help from family members or local advice services. Finally, let's talk about what you should do right now. First, get a state pension forecast. Know exactly when you can claim and how much you'll receive. Second, track down all your pensions. Use the government's pension tracing service to find any old workplace pensions you might have forgotten about. Third, understand your tax position. Work out what your total retirement income will be and whether you'll pay tax on it. Fourth, check if you're eligible for pension credit or other benefits. Fifth, if you have gaps in your national insurance record, find out if you can fill them and whether it's worth doing so. Sixth, review your retirement age plans in light of any changes to pension access ages. And seventh, make sure your pension beneficiaries are up to date. Life changes, and you want to make sure your pension goes to the right people if something happens to you. The UK pension system is complex and it's changing, but you don't have to navigate it alone. The key is staying informed and taking action where needed. Remember, these changes aren't designed to catch you out. They're responses to demographic and economic realities. By understanding what's happening and planning accordingly, you can make sure your retirement is as comfortable and secure as possible. Your pension is likely one of your most valuable assets, so give it the attention it deserves. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to UK Pensioner Hub for more essential information about pensions, benefits, and everything else that affects your retirement. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, because when it comes to your financial security, knowledge really is power. Drop a comment below if you have questions about any of these changes or if there's a specific pension topic you'd like me to cover in future videos. Remember, we're all in this together, and sharing information helps everyone in our community. Until next time, take care, stay informed, and make the most of your retirement years. Subscribe to UK Pensioner Hub today.